Our plaster sample is drying. I'm still worried.
We're 14 weeks into our whole home renovation, and Chris has had to call in some special help to try to get our schedule back in line. I'm trying to pick the perfect paint color, and I'm very worried about the plaster finish for our fireplace.
Another Monday morning. The start of the week was actually yesterday because I was at the house trying to get some forward momentum going. I've got some help with the drywall mudding and taping. Goal is by Friday to have all of the drywall finished and sanded and ready for prime. So Heather and I and Fiona are going away on a trip, so hopefully we can get some painters in and get the priming and ceilings painted and some of the walls painted as well. It'll be a busy week with probably a few long days, so let's get it done. Just getting to the house, so we'll pop inside and I'll give you a little tour of where we're at. Finally have leaves, but there's actually snow in the forecast. You can see in the entryway, we've got our outside corners on, we've got seams taped. Downstairs, we've got our ceiling taped, and if you remember for the basement, all the walls down here, those Heather wanted to be the nickel gap paneling, so that's why there's no drywall on those right now. This is one of the areas we concrete filled to hold our tape. And then we've got our fireplace with all the beads on, so it's looking awesome. Can't wait to get that finished up. And then up in the kitchen, firewall taped up between the units. Still have a few tools to move out of the way so they don't get covered in mud. And we've got our beam all ready, so can't wait to get that finished mudded. I think that's going to be a pretty standout feature in the kitchen, along with Heather's bar. In the bedroom here again, we've just got everything ready for finish coat of mud. So these flat seams, we'll get one coat of mud on those, and they'll take 2 coats to feather those out nice. Few days left of mudding. And of course we have all the ceilings we scraped. Those are gonna take 2 skim coats. Skim is just a pretty thin layer of mud to make sure they're perfect flat finish and ready for paint. So a couple ceilings I'm gonna try and get done today, along with doing our finish mud on our tape seams. So be a busy day. Hopefully we can get the whole first coat done, and hopefully I can get a couple ceilings done too. Might be a long one, but hopefully we get it all done by Friday. So let's go. Quick update, sorry for the noise. We got our big fan going to try and help dry out all the drywall mud. So start of another day. Monday we were able to get our first finish coat on of the finish mud for the drywall. So on Sunday I was here with our good neighbor Leo, who's helping me out, and we did that full tape coat on every corner and every seam of the drywall. Leo's got all of the outside corners coated. We've got the flat seams coated. Ceilings, that was my job yesterday. We've got skim coat on all the ceilings. It actually took me all 8 hours yesterday to skim all the ceilings. My shoulders are feeling it a little today. But today, second coat on the ceilings for the skim. So because we scraped those ceilings, they weren't painted, so we were able to get all the texture off nice and flat, but it's still a fairly rough finish. We have to go over it twice, so you can see on the inside corners. So today, we've only coated half of the corners. If you coat both sides, you end up doing damage to the mud, and you end up having to redo one side anyway. So it's best if you do one side one day and then come back the next day and finish that corner off. So corners only get one coat on each side of the corner. So today that's the plan. We'll get the second sides of the corners done, and then we'll feather out more of these flat seams, and hopefully we'll be able to smooth out. I don't know if you can see that. So that's like just a bit of a lump of mud, a little groove in there. So second coat will smooth all that stuff out. Making good progress. Seems like everything's dry. We actually cranked the furnace last night and had that fan running. Just feeling all the mud we put on, making sure everything's dry. If it's wet, you kind of can't recoat it. You gotta wait till it's dry Otherwise you start pulling mud out, making it worse for yourself. So ceilings, that's my job again. So probably another 8 hours of skimming ceilings. Hopefully a little less. Second coat usually goes a bit quicker. So, well, hopefully for my shoulders it goes quicker. Leo should be here shortly, who's an amazing drywaller. So he's actually retired and he's doing us an amazing favor. Without him, there's no way I could have got all this done this week. So hopefully it's looking good. We should be sanding and have everything ready for paint by the end of the week. So anyway, I better get to it.
Snowed again last night. Why does it always snow? I have paint samples. I did a little swatch of the primer for the plaster finish last night, and I'm worried it's going to be a little bit gray. So I'm hoping that when I put the plaster on this, that it will look a little bit richer. I also ordered about, I think, 30 paint samples. Going to put them up on the wall, and we're finally picking the paint color so we can have it all done for when we are out of town. The painters can come in and hopefully it's going to be all done for us when we get home. They are a hive of activity down there and it looks amazing. I should show you. The ceilings are all skim coated, which maybe doesn't look like much of a change, but all of the little lines and the poor finishing after we took off the stipple is gone. Fireplace is looking amazing. So excited about that. I have all of these samples that I ordered here ready to go through. And this is the sample that I did of just the primer so far, but it's looking quite gray. It's meant to be this color here, this old flax. And that is looking very gray. I have the gallon of paint here, and I'm going to put a bit of the finish on that board. Hopefully it comes out the color that I'm expecting, and then we can go ahead and pick our wall color. I don't know if this is not gonna open this can. I need to go get a tool from Chris. I am back with the little paint can opener guy. So let's see what we have in here. Oh, it's much darker. Okay, I'm feeling a lot better. Oh my gosh, it's so thick. Okay, I'm feeling much better. How about this? Hopefully I've got it stirred up enough just for a sample. I'm just smearing it all over the place. Our plaster sample is drying. I'm still worried that it's reading very gray, which isn't really what I wanted. I'm not sure. I'm gonna let him dry. I might see about going to a darker shade in the end. This is the color that I had originally picked. I just took it off of the board to hold it against my cabinet color, and it looks like a perfect match there, but this guy is not coming up the same color, so I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or if maybe it's bad tint. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if I need to go down to something like this flannel gray or river silt. I will have to just buy a second gallon if this color doesn't end up coming close to the color on the swatch. While we let that dry, I've brought up the hardwood sample. I have our color sample for the cabinetry and the green for the cabinetry in the mudroom, and I'm just going to start putting up some of these paint colors and we'll see how it goes. So I ended up ordering the light beige bundle. Okay, these are much yellower than I think that I was expecting. This one right here is a standout, accessible beige. The other bundle that I ordered is the off-white warm. Really beautiful, creamy whites. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is basically just like all of the best off-white paint colors. They're meant to have like a sticky back so that I can just stick them up onto the wall. Let's see if that works. Yeah, oh my goodness, okay.
I'm just gonna peel off a bit and see if that holds. Ah, okay. This is a very cool way to sample paint colors. I've never done this before, and I'm absolutely loving that color right there, which is Ballet White by Benjamin Moore. We'll put up a couple others and we'll hold up all of our samples against it and we'll see which one we end up falling in love with. They're a little bit finicky. I'm just going to the old-fashioned route of green painter's tape. Let's see, with our cabinets, like, oh my gosh, this Ballet White is so good. This one, I don't know, is it a little white? I don't know that I want like super white looking walls. China white, always beautiful. Again, I'm not so sure. I'm just gonna tape this up. If it will stay, it's got a bit of weight to it. The phone died. But in the meantime, what you missed, I was able to get that guy up on the boards. I also put a bunch of tape on the back of this, so hopefully it stays up on the wall. And this guy is starting to dry quite nicely. One of the things that I advise is just take a minute with your picking of paint colors. Get as many samples as you can, like really up against them. You want to do this in a room that gets good light. I don't really worry too much about running around and checking it in all of the different lights. What I've found over the years is that nobody ever loves a color in every single space. And it's kind of unrealistic to expect that of a paint color. Pick the main rooms that are really critical. And if it looks a little dark or a little heavy in a hallway where there's not a lot of natural light, for me, that's just fine. I've got these guys up in the master bedroom, which gets really beautiful south light. So I'm gonna get a really accurate read on the color of the kitchen cabinets. In the living room, which faces north, I know that these colors are gonna read a little bit darker and a little bit colder, which is just fine. As long as all the colors go in one specific light, they're gonna go together no matter which room they're in. So that is a little pro tip on how to pick the paint colors. So I'm just gonna take a step back and take a better look again. Well, there's some definite no's is what I would say. So I'm still torn between the yeses. This guy is a no for me. This one also definitely a no. I feel like this maritime white, I'm also finding to be a little pinky. And this accessible beige, I'm wondering if he's a little bit darker than I want. Okay, let me take another look from behind the camera. Accessible beige, I'm saying no to him. He is too dark and I think too warm to go with our cabinetry. I've just realized that I do not have the wallpaper sample for the powder room, so I'm gonna go get him and tape him on the wall as well. So pretty. Wow, it looks really good with this wind's breath. I'm gonna move my cabinet sample beside my plaster so I can see how that color is coming along, because I'm super worried about that still. It's not great, it's still very gray. I ordered a bunch of different greens and I wasn't sure what I was gonna wanna do. I have a gorgeous idea to do some really cool paneling in the entryway and also on this wall right behind me. So I decided to play with some different shades of greens so that I could layer the tones of the greens throughout the space. So let's tape some of these guys on the wall. I've just found a couple of greens that looked really similar to this. And I've just ordered like the darkest one on the chip, one up from the darkest, and then one up from that. And so if I'm going to start varying the paint colors throughout the space, I'm just gonna move up and down the chip. This guy is so pretty. This one, again, this dark olive, I'm finding that the tone goes off in a funny way. So I'm gonna get rid of him. With the Samplize company, when you order 8 colors, you get 2 for free. So I went and got some really crazy darks because I love the idea of layering like a really dark accent somewhere. We have the dark on the beam that we were talking about doing black that could end up being one of these colors. The railing is black, but I really like doing sometimes the doors in and out of rooms black can be really interesting. I don't know for sure if I'm gonna do that, but may as well just pick a dark while I'm here. This, I think, is the perfect super dark paint color. This is still worrying me though. It's definitely grayer than I was thinking. What I might end up having to do is come back tomorrow when I know that this guy is good and dry, make a final decision. So next morning, I'm back at the house and I think I'm gonna take the plaster to be retinted. So I have an idea of how hopefully I can make it a little bit warmer, maybe a little bit darker, and fingers crossed get it to the color I have in my head. Here's our guys working away. This is up on the big ladder, sanding the roof, and there's our sweet Leo.
Didn't ask for permission.
Best neighbor ever. I just walked in and I was all mentally prepared to drive and change the color and do all this stuff, and you won't believe what happened overnight. Could it be more perfect? It's absolutely the color I was dreaming of, and because we're using it on the hood fan, we have to put a special sealer on it so that none of the cooking oils will mark it. So it's going to be a touch darker when that sealer goes on it. I am so relieved. I just need to make a final decision on these paint colors. This is where we ended up last night, but I really want to see if I can get something a little creamier. So I pulled out just a few of the other colors. I'm gonna put them up and see what I think. I'm also thinking I want the green that I use in the entryway to be a little more green. I'm finding that guy maybe a little blue. This is also a great color. So let's tape some stuff up on the wall and just have a final check now that we know that that guy is perfection. Can I bug you to look at paint colors with me?
That might be a little dusty.
You are very dusty. Remember when I was so worried yesterday that this was so gray?
Sorry. That looks really cool.
Isn't it gorgeous? And it's not like too gray at all. It's absolutely the perfect color because I wanted something that's like a very similar tone to that. It's perfect.
Because this is the kitchen?
This is the cabinets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this will get a little darker because we have to put a special finish on it. So it'll actually end up being even a little bit darker than
There's
what
like
you
a
see there.
sealer or
A
something?
sealer, yeah, exactly.
But the texture, I love the texture.
Isn't it
It's going to
gorgeous?
look really, really
yeah,
nice.
I love it. I'm thinking maybe this guy for the fronts of the cabinets in the bathrooms. I was going to do an exact color match, but I'm kind of liking slightly lighter.
Right.
So I'm loving him. So this possibly for the paneling that I want to do in the entryway that we talked about as well.
Right.
Ooh, and what do you think of that for the beam? It's like almost black. What? It looks black.
What's that? Well, I was just going to use trim clad black.
Sorry. No, you're going to be using
Fancy.
Urbane bronze. These guys I am still feeling, I really don't want the walls to be white. So what I'm torn between is, please don't fall. So these guys I'm just feeling are a little too white. Oh, this was China white that you liked. Okay, so let's leave him up because you really like China white. The other one that I liked was ballet white.
It's definitely warmer than...
It's warmer, which I like. It's very important when you're looking at samples that are going to be seen on a vertical surface.
Yeah, it's way
To
warmer.
look at them on the vertical surface. That way you're getting a real read of the light. They'll look different if they're flat. So that's why, even though I'm fighting with the tape, it's worth it to get them on the wall. I mean, that's gorgeous too, but this just warms everything up, right?
Yeah.
And because these colors are so wishy-washy, they're really easy to manipulate with whatever you put them with. Yeah, I think ballet white's the winner because I definitely want something really warm. Do you want to see this wind's breath?
kind of almost greeny, isn't it?
Yeah, Winsbeth is kind of greeny, so I don't think he's
No, I don't
the one.
think we've got enough green tones in
Yeah.
everything else.
I
Yeah.
feel like Ballet White's the winner, which yesterday I was in love with the first time, so there we go. Very excited.
There's a lot of colors on the floor.
No, okay, I'm gonna clean up. And then I'm gonna do a little site tour, but you can go back to pit sanding now.
Oh, great.
These guys were breathing down my neck to get out of this room. Chris is already in here sanding. But before I head out, I thought I would show you some of the amazing progress that they've made. I'm so excited. I think we are definitely going to be able to get this place painted. Chris is thinking we'll only be able to get the primer and the ceiling stud, which would be a big push forward while we're away. And speaking of Paris, before I show off all the gorgeous things that have happened downstairs, we are not going to do a normal video next week because, of course, we won't be here, but we're still going to give you a video. I am planning to tour all of the flea markets in Paris. You'll definitely want to tune in next week. It's basically going to be a video about a designer enjoying a week in Paris, showing you all the beautiful things that are gorgeous. Speaking of beautiful things, look at the art. Isn't it so amazing? You can really see the shape of it now. So beautiful. And this room is like pretty much ready for paint. Cannot wait for that to no longer be a drawing and be the actual beautiful kitchen. But look at the fireplace. Isn't it so beautiful? Oh, and just imagine it with my beautiful plaster finish on there. It's just so subtle, but you get the play of shadows on that miter. Just, yes. Everything I wanted it to be. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna let these guys get back to work. And next time I see you, I'll see you in Paris.
We're just getting ready to wrap up the week here. Before I do, I just wanted to talk about a comment we got on one of our previous videos about the mudroom, which I'm down in now. We have 2 cabinets going in and making one of those a broom closet and putting power in, maybe to charge a cordless vacuum. It's a fantastic idea. So Heather and I were chatting about it. We can't have power in a cabinet unless there's a door switch. So when the door is closed, it actually turns the power off, which means the vacuum wouldn't charge. We also don't want to lose any storage space, but in this area we do actually have this storage room. So if we go in, we actually have this little setback. We're thinking we'll actually pull power from that plug, put power high up so that a vacuum can be charged, and we'll put maybe some racks for brooms and things like that in here. So yeah, great idea. Just couldn't do it in the cabinets over here. We'll get that power pulled before we finish the walls down here, of course. We're just gonna go finish our week. I actually have a lot of cleaning up to do. Finished our drywall everywhere. So with all the sanding, we actually have to do some vacuuming and tidying up. I guess that's a wrap. We'll see you in the next one.